It's not working again. Why does this do this? Okay, I'm back. And we're vertical again because something is locked. Okay, welcome back for another weekly Parsha reading. It's a little bit late. It's almost 8:30 here in Israel, and I want to stay on track, so here I am for the next Parsha reading. And because I've been quite busy lately, again, I don't have anything prepared. As I was doing for the first month or so of these Parsha readings, I had a little bit something to share beforehand, and this week I don't. So I'm just going to jump into the reading. And we are currently on the second book of the Torah, the book of Exodus, which is called Shemot in Hebrew, and we're on Parashat Bo. And let me just find the section. We're continuing with the 10 plagues. Okay, you know what? I'll read this little introduction. And people often ask me what I'm reading from, and this is the Chumash. This is the Jewish Bible, the first 5 books of the Jewish Bible, which are the 5 books of Moses. And this, like I said, is the second book of the 5 books, the book of Exodus. And this edition actually is called the Gutnick edition. It's a Chabad commentary, and I really enjoy it and I highly recommend it. So that's what I'm reading from because people have often been asking me. So I'm going to read this little introduction, which is speaking to the name of the Parsha, which is Bo. Bo means come, as in the verse, come to... wait, hold on, sorry. Okay, get my volume up. Bo means come, as in the verse, come to Paro. But why is a Parsha in which the Jews crush Egypt and leave it known as come to Paro? A statement which expresses a might of Paro and Egypt. This teaches us a lesson. Some people think that to solve the problems in their religious and spiritual lives, they just need to do more good and more good and more good. The truth is, however, that in addition to doing more good, a person also has to eradicate the bad. And not just bad in general, but bad that must be crushed at its root so that it does not grow back. Therefore, God told Moshe to come to Paro in his palace, where he resides in all his glory. Moshe was told to seek out the evil of Egypt at its root, and then to crush it and humiliate it to the extreme. And only then would the exodus occur. In his daily life, this means that a person should try to identify the primary desire which burns in his heart, the root of his personal evil, and launch an attack on that desire with full force. When he succeeds in this mission, he will then find that his other personal struggles follow effortlessly in its wake. And that's based on Sichat Shabbat, Parashat Bo, from the year 5751. Okay, so sorry, I'm a little bit ungrounded today, or at this moment, because I've just rushed in from a busy day. So bear with me. I will do my best for this reading, and I will just go into it. We're on the 8th plague of the locusts. God said to Moshe, come to Paro and warn him, for I have hardened his heart and the heart of his servants, in order that I may put these miracles of mine in his midst. And in order that you relate in the ears of your son and your grandson how I have toyed around with the Egyptians, and about the miraculous signs which I performed among them. You will then know that I am God. Moshe and Aaron came to Paro and said to him, this is what God, the God of the Hebrews, said. How long will you refuse to humble yourself before me? Let my people go so that they can worship me. For if you refuse to let them go, then tomorrow I'm going to bring a swarm of locusts into your border. It will obscure the view of the earth, and no one will be able to see the earth. It will consume everything of yours that remains from the hail, and it will eat all of your trees and grow from the fields. They will fill your houses, your servants' houses, and the houses of all the Egyptians, in a way which your fathers and grandfathers have not seen since the day they came onto the earth until today. He turned away and left Paro. Paro's servants said to him, how long will this one be a stumbling block to us? Let the people go and they will worship their God. Don't you know yet that Egypt is lost? Moshe and Aaron were brought back to Pharaoh by a messenger. He said to them, "Go worship God, your God." But exactly who will be going? Moshe said, "With our youth and with our elders we will go. With our sons and with our daughters, with our flocks and with our cattle we will go, for it is the festival of God for us." He said to them, "You will need God to be with you, even if I will just send you and your children, all the more so if I send the cattle too. See that the evil which you intend to commit turns back at you. Not so, I will not allow you to take the children as you are requesting now. Rather, just the men can go and serve God, for that is what you have requested in the past." They were then driven out from Pharaoh's presence. God said to Moshe, "Stretch out your hand over the land of Egypt to bring about the plague of locusts. It will pass up over the land of Egypt and eat all the vegetation of the earth that was spared by the hail." Moshe stretched forth his staff over the land of Egypt, and God caused an east wind to blow upon the land all of that day and all night. By the time it was morning, the east wind was carrying the swarm of locusts. The swarm of locusts went up over the entire land of Egypt and rested within all the borders of Egypt in a very severe manner. Before it there was never such a locust swarm, and after it there will never be one like it. It obscured the view of all the earth, and the land became dark. It ate all of the vegetation of the earth and all the fruits of the trees, which are spared by the hail. No greenery in the trees or vegetation in the fields remained throughout the entire land of Egypt. Pharaoh quickly summoned Moshe and Aaron, and he said, "I have sinned against God, your God, and against you. Now please forgive my sin just this time and entreat God, your God. Let him take away just this death from me." He left Pharaoh and pleaded with God. God turned back a very strong west wind. It carried the swarm of locusts and plunged them into the Sea of Reeds. Not one locust remained within the entire border of Egypt. God strengthened Pharaoh's heart, and he did not send the children of Israel away. God said to Moshe, "Stretch out your hand towards the heaven, and there will be darkness over the land of Egypt. The darkness will become more intense than normal darkness." Moshe stretched out his hand towards the heaven, and there was thick darkness over the entire land of Egypt for 3 days. No person could see his brother, nor could any person rise from his place for 3 days. However, the children of Israel had light in all their homes. Pharaoh summoned Moshe and said, "Go and worship God, but your flocks and your cattle must remain. Your children may also go with you." Moshe said, "Not only will we take our own cattle, but you will also provide with us animals for sacrifices and burnt offerings, and we will offer them for God, our God. Our cattle will also go with us. Not a single hoof will remain, for we will take sacrifices from it to worship God, our God, and we do not know how much worship will be required from God until we arrive there." God hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he did not wish to send them out. Pharaoh said to him, "Go away from me. Beware not to look at my face again, for on the day you see my face, you shall die." Moshe said, "Well said. I will never see your face again." God said to Moshe while he was standing in Pharaoh's presence, "I will bring one more plague upon Pharaoh and upon Egypt, and afterwards he will send you away from here. When he sends you out, he will drive you out of here completely. Please speak in the ears of the people and tell each man to request from his friend and each woman from her friend silver vessels and golden vessels." God granted the people favor in the eyes of the Egyptians. Moshe was also a highly respected person in the eyes of Pharaoh's servants and in the eyes of the people. Moshe said to Pharaoh, "This is what God said. At the dividing point of the right, I will go out into the midst of Egypt, and every firstborn in the land of Egypt will die. From the firstborn of Pharaoh who sits on his throne to the firstborn of the slave woman who is behind the millstones, and firstborn animals too. There will be a great cry throughout the entire land of Egypt, like which there has never been before, and like which there will never be again. Not one dog will bark ferociously at any man or animal of all the children of Israel, so that you will know that God will have distinguished between the Egyptians and Israel. All these servants of yours will come down to me and throw themselves down in front of me, saying, 'Go away, you and all your followers. Afterwards, I will leave your land together with the entire people.'" Moshe, then left Pharaoh in a very angry state. God said to Moshe, "Pharaoh will not listen to you, so that my miracles in the land of Egypt will be increased." Moshe and Aaron had performed all these miracles before Pharaoh, but God strengthened Pharaoh's heart, and he did not send the children of Israel out from his land. God spoke to Moshe and to Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, "This month shall be the head of the months for you. It shall be the first of the months of the year for you." speak to the entire community of Israel, saying, on the 10th of this month they should take for themselves one lamb or kid for one extended family, one lamb or kid for each household. But if the household is too small to eat a whole lamb or kid, then he should take one with a neighbor of his who is near to his house, according to the number of people involved. Each person should be counted for the lamb or kid according to his ability to eat. You must have a perfect, unblemished male lamb or kid in its first year. You may take either sheep or goats. You should hold it for inspection until the 14th day of this month. Then the entire congregation of the community of Israel shall have it slaughtered in the afternoon. They shall take some of its blood and put it on the two doorposts and on the lintel of the houses in which they will be eating it. On that night they shall eat the meat. They should eat it roasted over fire, together with matzot and bitter herbs. Do not eat it undercooked or boiled in water, only roasted over the fire in one piece, its head with its legs and with its innards. You shall not leave over any of it until morning. Any part of it that is left over until morning should be burned in fire. This is how you shall eat it. Your waist should be belted. You should be ready to travel, your shoes on your feet and your staff in your hand. You should eat it quickly. It is called a Pesach to commemorate how God passed over the Jewish houses in Egypt. I will pass through the land of Egypt on this night, and I will smite every firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast, and upon all the gods of Egypt I'll perform acts of judgment. I, God, will do this personally. The blood will be for you as a sign upon the houses where you are. I will see the blood and skip over you. There will be no plague to destroy you when I strike in the land of Egypt. This day shall be for you as a memorial, and you shall celebrate it as a festival for God. For all generations you shall celebrate it as an eternal statute. For 7 days you shall eat matzot, but on the preceding day you shall eliminate all leaven from your houses. For whoever eats leaven from the first day until the 7th day will have his soul cut off from Israel. On the first day there shall be a sacred holiday, and on the 7th day you shall have a sacred holiday. But the only work that you may do is that which is needed to provide food for Jewish people or their cattle. You shall guard the matzot, for on this very day I have taken your legions out of the land of Egypt. You shall observe this day throughout your generations as an eternal statute. And the first month, on the 14th day of the month in the evening, you shall eat matzot until the 21st day of the month in the evening. For 7 days leaven shall not be found in your houses. For if any person eats a leavening substance, his soul will be cut off from the community of Israel. This applies to both the convert and the native born of the land. You shall not eat any leavening substance. Throughout all the places where you live, you shall eat matzot. Moshe summoned all the elders of Israel and said to them, draw from your own flock or buy for yourselves sheep for your families and slaughter the Pesach sacrifice. You shall take a bunch of hyssop and immerse it in blood that is in a basin. You shall touch the lintel and the two doorposts with some of the blood that is in the basin. Not a single one of you shall go out from the entrance of his house until morning. God will pass through to strike the Egyptians, and he will see the blood that is on the lintel and the two doorposts. God will skip over the entrance, and he will not permit the force of destruction to enter your houses and strike. You shall keep this matter as a statute for you and for your children forever. You will only have to keep this ritual service when you enter the land that God is going to give you, as he promised. When your children say to you, what is this ritual service to you? You should say, it is a Pesach slaughter required by God, because he skipped over the houses of the children of Israel in Egypt when he struck the Egyptians and he saved our houses. The people bowed and prostrated themselves on hearing this news. The children of Israel went and did exactly what God commanded Moshe and Aaron. Moshe and Aaron also did so. It was that night that God in his court struck every firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh sitting on his throne to the firstborn of the prisoner in the dungeon, and every firstborn animal. Pharaoh arose at night from his bed, both he and all his servants and all Egypt. There was a great outcry in Egypt, for there was no house devoid of a corpse. He called personally for Moshe and Aaron at night, and he said, get up and go from among my people, both you and the children of Israel. Go and worship God as you said. Take also your flocks and your cattle, and as you said, and go. Bless me too, that I should not die, as I am a firstborn. The Egyptians urged the people to send them speedily from the land, because they said, we are all dying. The people picked up their dough when it was not yet leavened. Their leftovers of matzah and bitter herbs were wrapped in their robes on their shoulders. The children of Israel followed the order of Moshe, and they requested from the Egyptians silver objects, golden objects, and robes. God granted the people favor in the eyes of the Egyptians, and they granted their request. They emptied out Egypt. The children of Israel journeyed a large distance miraculously from Ramses to Sukkot, about 600,000 men on foot, besides the young children. Also, a great mixed multitude of converts from other nations went up with them, as well as flocks and cattle, a huge amount of livestock. They baked the dough that they had taken out of Egypt into cakes of matzot, for it had not leavened, since they were driven out of Egypt, and they could not delay. Furthermore, they had not made provisions for themselves. The children of Israel had inhabited Egypt for 430 years. It was at the end of 430 years, on that very day, that all the legions of God went out of the land of Egypt. It is a night which God had been keeping in mind to take them out of the land of Egypt. This is the night from which God told Abraham that he would redeem his children, and it is guarded against harmful forces for all the children of Israel throughout their generations. God said to Moshe and Aaron, "This is the law of the Pesach sacrifice. No stranger, no Jew or apostate Jew may eat from it. Any slave belonging to a person that was purchased for money shall be circumcised, and then he will be permitted to eat from it. A resident alien or a circumcised non-Jewish hired worker may not eat from it. It must be eaten within one house, one group. You must not take any of the meat outside the house or group." You must not break any of its bones. The entire community of Israel shall make it. When a convert joins you, he should make a Pesach sacrifice to God. In order for him to offer it, all his male family members shall be circumcised. Then he will be like a native of the land, bringing the sacrifice in its prescribed time. No uncircumcised male may eat from it. The native-born Jew and the convert who joins you shall share the same law for all the mitzvot of the Torah as well. All the children of Israel did as God had commanded Moshe and Aaron. They did it exactly. It happened on that very day that God took the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt in their legions. God spoke to Moshe, saying, "Sanctify to me every firstborn. The first of each womb among the children of Israel, of humans and animals, is mine." Moshe said to the people, "Remember this day when you went out of Egypt from the house of bondage, for with a mighty hand God took you out of here. Therefore leaven should not be eaten. Today you are going out in the month of Aviv, a spring month when the weather is mild, when God will bring you into the land of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites, which he swore to your forefathers to give you, a land flowing with milk and honey. You shall perform this ritual, Pesach, service in this month. For 7 days you shall eat matzot. The seventh day is a festival for God. Matzot shall be eaten during the 7 days, and no chametz that belongs to you shall be seen in your possession. No leaven that belongs to you shall be seen throughout your borders. You shall tell your son on that day, saying, because of these mitzvot of Pesach, matzah, and maror, God did this for me when I went out of Egypt. The exodus from Egypt shall be for you as a sign upon your hand and as a remembrance between your eyes, so that the Torah of God shall be in your mouth. For with a mighty hand God took you out of Egypt. You shall keep this statute at its appointed time from year to year. There will come a time when God will bring you into the land of the Canaanites, as he swore to you and to your forefathers, and then you should consider that he has given it to you on that day, not as an inheritance from your ancestors. You shall then set aside for God the first of every womb. The males belong to God from every miscarriage which emerges first from the womb from an animal that belongs to you. You should redeem every firstborn donkey with a kid or lamb. If you do not redeem it, you must break the back of its neck with an axe. You should redeem every firstborn person among your sons for 5 shekels. It will come to pass if your son asks you in the future, saying, "What is this?" You shall say to him, "With a mighty hand God took us out of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. When Pharaoh stubbornly refused to send us out, God slew every firstborn in the land of Egypt, both the firstborn of people and animals. Therefore I am slaughtering to God all males that come out of the womb first, and I will redeem every one of my firstborn sons. It shall be a sign upon your arm and totafot, tefillin between your eyes, for God took us out of Egypt with a mighty hand." And that's it. Wow. When I read that, I think so much about how they say that the idea is that the final redemption will mimic the same imprint, the same pattern as the Exodus from Egypt. And it's just really exciting and wild to think about everything we just read, and also from last week's Parsha about all the 10 plagues and how that would really happen again in this day and age in some way. I'm sure it wouldn't be exactly like that, but just that this pattern, this cycle will repeat itself in the final redemption. And even the idea of the even like leaving Egypt with all the wealth, and like there's just so many parts of this that are just fascinating to wonder what the modern day equivalent of that act might look like. So, and also who really represents Paro in our day and age. So it's really exciting. And as I read this, it makes me really excited also for, of course, excited for the Geula, but also just excited for Pesach coming up very soon. It's already kind of feeling like spring as I read this. Let me just catch up on the messages. Hi, Coco. Okay. Hello, man. How are you? Anup. Pravesh. Got some interesting. Hi, Lemaire. Thank you. He says, great job, Meorah. Thank you again. So God will remove our free will. Shalom, Meorah. I am sad you disappeared and then disowned your fellow progressive Jews. As a trans woman, you know the Orthodox rabbis reject us. Please don't forget us. That's a very interesting comment, because I don't know why you feel that I've disowned progressive Jews. I'm very sorry to hear that, but that's not the case. I haven't really changed my welcoming and loving stance toward all Jews of all backgrounds. So I don't know what might have led to you maybe feeling that I have, maybe because I've become personally more Orthodox, more frum, but that absolutely is not, it definitely still can align with loving and accepting Jews of all backgrounds, of all orientations, of all everything. And I firmly stand by that. So if you feel that I've rejected progressive Jews or anything like that, it's definitely not the case. The more religious I become, the more loving and open and accepting toward all Jews I become. And in fact, I think that back when I was less religious, and also just because I was kind of just starting out, and probably also because I was just less mature back then, I had this idea that like all Jews should be religious, and like I had a very much like a much more narrow view of Judaism and what it means to be a Jew. And um, even though I personally was more, I wouldn't even say progressive, because just even though I was less religious at the time, I still had this like romantic notion of what it means to be a Jew, and I thought that that meant like I put like religious Jews on a pedestal, and I felt like that's what I was aspiring toward being, and that's what I thought that we all ought to be, like 110% Torah keeping, like, religious Jews. And the more religious and the more like that I've become, because I have continued to aspire toward that, but the more I've learned to adapt into that lifestyle, the more I've truly, like I said, really learned to accept and love and really appreciate the importance of every Jew from every background and every different point of view being part of this. So I guess that was a little long-winded, but I just want to drive home the point that I love each and every one of you, and I would never, God forbid, hold any like put any Jew in any kind of box or think that anyone is greater or lesser than anyone else, because we all have a place here. So I hope you feel welcome always on my little channel here, because I really tried to make it, a welcoming space for everyone, and that's just how I think, and that's just how I am. So I hope you feel that from me, because that's just, yeah, that's how I think. If you're still here, somebody just left that comment earlier. Joshua says meow. Lots of meows. Interesting comments. Okay, Shabbat Tov. Maybe some Christian-y comments. Ooh, I missed a lot of okay, lots of back and forth. Okay, I won't go into all of that here. have you ever been to the Great Bell Synagogue in Jerusalem or the Rebbe's Tish? Says Timan Zaviz. I haven't, but it's like on my bucket list to go to the Bell Synagogue. I've heard it's just gorgeous, and I really want to go at some point. So I do want to try it out. Hi Troy, I remember you too. Hi Brenda, nice to see you. Zevi, Howling Wolf, nice to see you. See, I don't know if by the time I'm actually reading. Oh, Lindsay, hi, nice to see you. I don't know if by the time reading these messages you guys have hopped off, but in either case, anyway, I'm glad to see some familiar names, and really thankful for you guys hopping on for my little Torah Parsha reading again. I'm going to try something new actually on my Instagram channel where I'm trying to do Parsha in a minute, like a little summary snippet for people who just like want the Cliff Notes, the Spark Notes version. And I'm going to be posting that. I think I don't know if I'll do it also here, but also on my Instagram. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, I have a very small channel account. It's like 2,500 people. So hop on over there if you want. Once in a while, I've been live streaming there because I don't know why I do that, sometimes just because it's easier or something. But one thing I've noticed, which I love about the streaming function on Instagram, is I can actually chat with people. So if I'm actually streaming something that I'm showing you guys and I'm like not on the camera, I can still chat with you, which is really nice. And YouTube unfortunately doesn't have that function, which is kind of a bummer. So yeah, you might catch different things that I'm doing on Instagram versus YouTube, but I won't try to keep it too complicated other than that. Panya says, Toda and pardon for ranting on this live stream. Not at all. You're welcome to say whatever you feel like. And I'm glad that you joined. Troy says, my Chabad rabbi would never treat someone less than. You are very welcoming, Meorah, on this channel. Yes, thank you. And yeah, that's a very Chabad rabbi type of thing. I think Chabad rabbis are particularly welcoming, or at least they're trained to be. Not all of them are, but they're trained to be, which is nice. Adi says, sweetheart, you are amazing and you convey Judaism and the Holy Torah with such acceptance and inclusion. I've already mentioned the place I built is very religious and I feel good. Yeah, this is very heartwarming to me, guys, when I see that, like, not just heartwarming, but fascinating that like the range of people, and especially over time, and also since I've started doing YouTube here in Israel, like I love seeing the type of people who come onto this channel because it really is a fascinating cross section. Like in the beginning, you had a lot of people like me who are converts or converts in process, people who kind of feel a little bit left out of the fold. Like that was really a big part of my channel, especially in the beginning, because it was also like a big topic I think I talked about and felt a lot too. And now I have Israelis, which is cool because it's not just, Americans. And I think as I've been doing these live streams, I have just like people from random countries and like people who have no connection to Judaism at all and just somehow come across the stream, which I think is really interesting. Sometimes I'd invite some trolls and weird comments, but nonetheless, I think it's kind of neat. And then I have like religious Jews like FFBs, people who are like a lot more on the religious side, just like all over the place. So it's really cool to see that I'm like, I don't know, maybe I won't take credit. I'll give YouTube's algorithm the credit that something I'm doing is kind of okay for a broad spectrum of the nation, which is really fun to see. So I hope that will continue to be the case. Okay. Chabad is a hit or miss in my experience. I was rejected here in Lisbon. Ugh, sorry to hear that. I actually had also, I'm not going to say it here, but I also had actually a very negative experience with a Chabad before too. So, I'm not saying everyone's perfect, but like I said before, they're trained to be very welcoming. And I find that most of the time they are. Ashley says, hi, Meorah, hope you're well. How are your Hebrew studies going? Would you have any suggestions for learning Hebrew online? Oh, yeah. My Hebrew studies are not going. I had to drop out of Ulpan and I haven't really gone back yet. So my Hebrew studies are limited to me reading Tehillim and reading the Parsha and things like that. So I'm really just trying to pick up the pace on my reading and like continuing that. And speaking, I'm just not doing at all. Although I will say, like, my listening, just from immersion, I guess, just from being around here, like, is getting better and better. Like, I'm noticing that when people, like, I can understand a little bit more. So I feel like things are starting to click and connect, which is nice. Um, but I do plan on going back to my tutor, I think. I think I'm gonna do that soon. It's a matter of time, but yes, that's my plan right now, to go back to a tutor. Um, there are a lot of great online resources, even Duolingo. I should probably just like force myself to do Duolingo, but there are a lot of them online. And then there's like Hebrew Pod 101, which is also a YouTube channel. So there's like a lot of free resources too that you can check out. But I don't have great advice because I'm also I'm also stuck and not progressing as much as I should. So there's that. But I wish you all the luck, and I hope that you do better and progress more quickly than I have, Ashley. Um, David says, what does this say? Demand? Demand, David? I don't know what that says. I recommend that you come to Shabbat to pray at the Bell Synagogue. I promise you'll enjoy it. Enjoy it. Is that where you go? One thing I've been thinking is like if I go to Bell's, I'm gonna either like see it beforehand, like not on Shabbos, or go with somebody who knows. Because I still have this like great fear of going to new shuls, and I mean, like, if it's like just a typical shul, it's kind of fine. But like if it's like a certain, I don't know, if it's a certain environment I'm not necessarily used to, I would rather go with somebody who knows, because I have this like paranoid fear that I'm gonna like walk into the men's section or just like go into the wrong place or like not know how to get there, and then I'll like be late for service or something like that. So I do want to go to Bell's, but I want like a buddy to go with. So I've been kind of waiting for that. So um, yeah, if any ladies who go to Bell's want to take me along, then message me, because it's actually like literally been on my bucket list to go to Bell's. That's like when I went to, it wasn't Shabbos, it was during Sukkot. No, it was during Simchat Torah on like the second day for yeah, it was like the second day that I went to the Breslov Shul in Meisharim, which is like very Haredi. It's not like Breslov Light. It was like very Haredi, and like that was the kind of place. It was awesome too. It was like really amazing. But that was the kind of place where I would not have been comfortable going if I didn't go with somebody who like knew how to get in there. Like we went through some like back alley, like up these tiny stairs, and like I wouldn't have even figured that out if I hadn't gone with this girl that brought me in, like, yeah, brought me there. So it was super cool, but that's a perfect example of like, also being in a very like very much more like insular community. Like I just want to be comfortable going if I didn't know like literally where to physically go. Um, so yeah, there are a good amount, I don't know, not a good amount, but like there are certain shuls that are on my bucket list that I want to go to. So that is that. Um, some interesting choices. I just got back today from Aruba. Chabad had a huge Shabbos dinner. We had 276 people attend in Aruba. It was cool to meet people from all over the world. Whoa, was that like an event or something? Like that's a lot of people for Aruba. But that sounds awesome. It must have been really fun. Adi says, that's exactly the point. I stayed in the same class and the rest advanced, which is great, but maybe I can get stronger from here, who knows? Panya says, I chatted in Hebrew last night with an Israeli here. It felt really good. That's awesome. I know those little moments, like I've had mini conversations, like with a get driver here or there, just like little tiny exchanges, and like you just feel like such a win when that happens. Panya does not like Duolingo. Just meet people and chat. Yeah, it's hard because I don't get into situations where I'm meeting like pure Hebrew speakers that don't know English, so it just doesn't come up very much. So I need to be in different contexts, I think. Hi, Bluck. Ashley, YouTube has a lot of good learning Hebrew also, says Troy. Duo Belisaria says Duolingo is okay for vocabulary boost. Zev says, I think you understand much more Hebrew than you actually realize. I could probably catch on to any conversation. I think I actually have a decent vocabulary, given like all this stuff from like davening and Torah stuff. Like, I think I don't know. I wonder how many words I actually know, but I feel like I do have a decent vocabulary. It's more just like connecting the dots and having the bravery to put them together and actually converse with people. So that's what I have to work on. Belisarius, Atlantic Shield, hello. David, Damen. Okay, Damen. Oh, followers of bells, this is an experience. There's something different about it in a good way. Oh, interesting. I don't think I've ever met any bells folk. What do you call somebody who's a bells person? A bells-ish. I'm not gonna even make it up. Somebody from bells. Can we hear you speak Hebrew, please? See, like, you say it like that, and then I just feel like shy and nervous. So I will not. I will refrain for the moment because I'm not like, I don't even know what I should say. All right, I'll say a sentence. אני מאורה ואני גרה פה בירושלים, ואני עובדת, ועכשיו אני לא לומדת עברית, אבל אני רוצה ללמוד עברית. That's, yeah, there's a little bit. From my little Upan days. Is this question for me? Do you know how to surf? I do not. And I snowboarded once and I kept falling, so I don't think I'd be good at surfing. The Hyatt had over 800. She says, thanks. Hope your progress continues in the future. Bezrat Hashem. Yeah, you got the blue K. Yeah, you got it right the first time. It is blue K. Oh, blue K. Okay, also thanks. I can connect you with women who would be happy to go with you. We have many converts in our community and they will welcome you warmly. Oh, wait, this is so cool, David. Like, you're actually from the Bells community. So, like, that makes me feel like I don't know. I really want to connect with somebody who's, like, from the inside who can, like, show me and, like, take me there. So, if you can message me and, like, connect me to some ladies or gals that can, like, wouldn't mind me tagging along, I would be so excited about that. That would be very cool. That would be really awesome. I wonder how far it is. Like, I'm, like, right in the center, so, I mean, yeah, I think it's walkable. I don't even know where it is. I think it's, like, toward Osher Ad. Is it in Romema? I think it's somewhere around there. Adi says, ha 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 ha, Kanghada? Oh my gosh, you know what's embarrassing? I don't even know what Kanghada means because my Korean is that bad. Billy Sari says, very well done. That sounds awesome. I have this funny little easy peasy. I need to read these things. Yeah, I need to work on this. So, anyway, for another time. If you were to plan a date for Valentine's, what would you plan out? Ooh, that's a fun question. I don't know. I would just go to like a really nice restaurant. It sounds kind of boring, but I would just splurge. Like, do you mean if you were a guy? If I was a guy and I had a girlfriend, I would buy her a really nice piece of jewelry, take her to a very nice restaurant, and buy flowers. Just the classic stuff. Everyone loves that. What did I do? But thank you too. Should I buy a wood bow or a bimbo? Why do I read these? Good evening, lady. From England. Wonderful horseshoe. I'm working with somebody who's English, and he told me I just think the terms are so cute and funny, like how you guys say biscuits instead of cookies. It's like really adorable. And he told me the other day that instead of Q-tips, like we just call them Q-tips or cotton swabs, that you guys call them cotton buds. And I thought that was just precious. So I'm having a kick out of that. The suggestion for Duolingo. Sorry, I thought that was directed at me. I wrote down that you are very funny. Do you know better Korean than I do? I need to work on my Korean. I need to work on my Korean and my Hebrew. Okay. Anywho, it's 9:09 here in Israel, and I'm not done with my work day. Like, so far, I think I've worked like 13 hours. I don't know if you guys saw my last stream where I said I worked, on Thursday, I worked like 17, 18 hours. I've worked about 13 hours today, and I have like maybe at least another hour of work. So I've got a long night ahead. I still have to daven, aravit, and eat dinner. I haven't even eaten yet, so got some stuff to do. Romema, Carrie Bells, cool. But I'm serious, David. If you can find my contact, you can email me. If you go to hameorah.com, HAMEORAH.com, there's a contact form on there, and if you could message me, I would be so grateful. That would be very, very cool. And he says, Blue K says you need a spa day to yourself. Maybe one day I'll treat you. That's funny. Oh, Howling Wolf, we're still waiting for a cooking show. Yeah, I actually did a lot of cooking on Motzei Shabbat, but like I was like a mess, and my hair was all a mess and stuff. I was like not going to stream that, but I will stream stuff like that again when I have a little more time. I've just been very, very busy. 7:09 in Newcastle. And David says, Hebrew is the only language in the world where every word has a meaning and roots, so it's much easier to learn if you understand the rules. I think there are other languages that have like roots and such, but Hebrew is the only like language where each word is this essence. So I think in that sense that there's like almost something more natural about it that you kind of tap into, and like I feel like you can absorb it a little bit better, if that makes sense. But anyway, I'm gonna move on with my night. Thank you guys for hanging out. It was really fun, and whenever I do this, I feel very energized, and I love interacting with you guys. It's really fun for me. So wishing you a wonderful evening, a Shavua Tov, and I'm wishing you all a bright, festive, fun, and healthy week ahead. All right, bye guys. Litraot.